Hello, I'm Adriana and welcome to the channel. In order to become a clear vessel for the divine, I have worked on myself for the past 8 years every single day. And in clearing out my vibration, I am able to access information that helps those who are interested in growth, moving forward on their spiritual path. Today I have a soul tarot reading. We're going to look at messages for a specific soul, and then I'll also be doing some messages for 6 astrological signs, the sun, moon, and rising of those signs. I'll get to that when I get to that. First, let's see show me the soul I'm connecting with, please. 2 cards coming out for that. 8 of Wands and 5 of Cups. Okay, so there's a couple things going on here. You are a soul who likes to, I don't like to use like, who tends to communicate about loss, who tends to communicate more about what was taken away or what isn't there for you rather than what is there for you. And we're looking at a soul who's gone through a lot of loss, a lot of repeated loss. And it's almost as if you're afraid to seek out new experiences because you feel it will lead to more loss. But it's a chicken and egg thing, because as you're focusing on more loss, that's literally what you're putting out into the universe, and that's what you're getting back. So that's what I mean why there's a chicken and egg situation going on. But you're also learning about loss and what you definitely came down here to experience loss, to experience grief. And the reason, there's karmic reasons for that. Can you show me the karmic reasons for why this is a path of loss this time? The Star and the Fool. Okay, let me just get this all together here. This is interesting. It's almost like in a past life or past lives, there was almost too much luck, if that's even possible, that it's kind of like you led a charmed life, and every time you got up to some trouble or got into some trouble, it's like this divine hand pulled you out through other people just coming out of nowhere to help you, or like you just happened to skirt death, or you skirt injury in all these situations. It's like they don't quite happen. You were very lucky. And so as a result of that, you were actually, this may sound weird to you, you were robbed of truly experiencing things because it's almost like it was too easy. And you're like, well, how could anything be too easy? It's so hard right now, and I get it. But when you experience loss, when you experience grief, when we experience loss and grief, it actually gives us depth. It gives us a greater capacity to feel and a greater capacity to understand others. And so I want to say that your life was really kind of shallow. Your past life was more shallow. And you're like, well, I'll take that life over this one, please. But actually, no. Your soul is saying, we wanted you to have a deeper life. We wanted you to come back to a deeper life so you could truly understand what healing is, so you could truly understand what it means to have. Because until you've lost, you don't really understand what it's like to have. It's kind of a paradox. And whenever anyone has gone through loss and they're able to heal from that loss, your capacity for gratitude is even deeper. And deep gratitude is deeper connection to source. And deep connection to source is literally experiencing heaven on earth. So what this means is that gratitude is the way that we connect to source. It's the easiest way to connect to source from a physical body. And remember, in a physical body, we choose to come into these lower vibration physical bodies so that we can understand what our light is truly like. So think about this. If you have a deeper capacity for understanding gratitude, you have a more powerful way of experiencing source energy on this plane. So you are literally seeing more and more of your true power, who your true self is, through these experiences of loss. But the point is not to stay in loss itself. The point is to move on and heal from that loss so that you can truly start to connect with abundance and connect with a greater understanding of how any situation where you've encountered loss has led you to something bigger, something greater, something deeper, something where your capacity to love has increased. And where is this soul with regard to healing right now? Strength, Eight of Cups, Hierophant. Okay, so it's a little bit of both. You're not starting this healing journey for the first time, but you're not completely through the door. You're not completely healed. Okay, so I'd like advice, and I'd also like to see where this is leading in the future. Which deck? Okay, so I'm switching decks. Advice, please, and then show me where this is going to lead. So middle three for advice. We've got the Tower, the Elder of Fire, and the Queen of Water. Wow, that's really interesting. That is such an interesting message there. Okay, Tower is an interesting card to be getting at this point because the Tower is a 7, which is a spiritual number, which means that what you're going through is a spiritual test. So the Elder of Water, I'm sorry, the Queen of Water is it's a card of depth. It's a card that also, is this you? Is this a helper? It's asking you to tap into the deep healing within. So the way our bodies are put together is that whatever wound we have, we are able to heal. And I believe this does extend to the physical body as well, that this is a subject for another reading or another video. It's our beliefs that get in the way of physical healing. And the problem is our beliefs are so deeply entrenched through our culture, through our generations, through what it means, through even what a doctor is, that sometimes I think we limit our ability to heal ourselves completely physically. But right now, I'm talking about emotionally and spiritually. So you have a deep capacity for self-healing, and that's also part of these upright cups on the 5 of Cups are to learn about what is there for you, what is there to help you in the future. And this is about you learning about your capacity for deep self-healing. But in learning about the capacity for deep self-healing, you also learn about your ability to heal others. So this is your journey as a healer. It may not be a traditional healer or something where you set up a shingle, even if it's non-traditional. It may be that you provide healing to those in your life, those in your sphere of influence, but it's about coming into your identity as a healer. And it's funny because we say healer, one who can heal, one who understands what it's like to be broken and then put back together. We don't say a healed. We don't go to someone who's a healed, right? We go to a healer, someone who understands the process. So loss is to teach you about healing and how to spread this light and warmth to other people. There's something else in this Elder of Fire that wants to come through. What is the energy with the Elder of Fire? that you're actually a leader in this type of healing. So maybe you're the first person in your family to start to heal. Maybe you are actually a healer, and this is about becoming a leader in your chosen profession. But it's understanding that you're not just getting the yoga certification for you, and you're not just getting the yoga certification to teach the class. You're going to become a master teacher, a master yoga teacher that can then train other teachers. And I'm using yoga as an example because I believe that is one way that we teach the body how to heal itself, is through physical movement. But you're going to be the teacher of teachers. That's really what we're looking at here. And that's the point. That's the point of all this. When we go back to the original message, the Five of Wands going into the Five of Cups going into Eight of Wands is telegraphing information, getting the messages out there, getting the communication out there. And right now, the speaking of loss, the putting out there of loss, what if we change that around to be the speaking about healing, the putting out there of healing? And as you heal, you are healed. As you heal others, you then learn how to heal yourself. And it is really important, though, that we prioritize this. You have to heal yourself first before you can learn to heal others. Otherwise, it's blind leading the blind. All right, now I asked for advice, but we also kind of got a taste of where this is healing. Is there anything headed where this is healing? Heal there. What else do you want to tell us about the future? Well, I have a lot of messages about the future. Looking at middle five, Knight of Fire, Three of Water, so energy coming together, 10 of Earth, leaving a legacy, 8 of Air, not quite sure what's happening there, Temperance. So basically, 8 of Air, I think we're purposefully not being shown part of the future because it was all going so well. There's really a big capacity. This is a community of healers that we're saying that the sparking, the catalyzing of a community of healers coming together that really leave their mark on the world, that really leave a legacy. And the 8 of Air, the limits that this healing enterprise will have is only the limits that they place on themselves, the limits to their own power. So that's why this work on yourself is so important, so that you are making sure that you feel empowered in every single aspect of your life, because the empowering of others to do the same is going to be paramount to getting this enterprise off the ground. Temperance, also a card that screams healing, just like the Star. Both of these cards are about healing and balance and flow. So the extent to which this coming together of like energies is going to flow is all dependent on the blocks that people are willing to remove from themselves. So this is about a community of people who are willing to take the steps to empower themselves, to release themselves from self-sabotage, to release themselves from self-imposed limitations. So we can only go as far as the weakest link, right? So we need to make sure that we're each individually doing our part to not be that weakest link here. Okay, is it time to switch? Yeah, we're going to switch into, and I think I'm going to switch decks as well. I'm going to be drawing some messages for specific astrological energy. This is the energy of your sun, your moon sign, or your rising sign. And if I don't draw for you now, there is another video that I just released today that will have the other cards in it. So we're looking at Cancer, we're looking at Libra, we're looking at Scorpio, Aquarius, Aries, and Virgo. Okay, I believe it's Warrior something. It's another soul reading, and it's for Warrior. Okay, so anyway, message for Cancer, please. Is it middle 2 or 3? Looks like we're drawing 3 cards for Cancer. Rebirth, 9 of Swords, and Princess of Pentacles. All right, so Cancer, you're being really pushed to the end, the edge of a cliff, end of a line. You're coming right up to it. And you've been willing to think about it. You've been willing to end of the line and making a judgment, I want to say, in getting some real clarity, taking a stand, and being very decisive about this particular point in your life. You've thought about it a lot, you've considered it practically, but you're not willing. You have a lot of anxiety, Nine of Swords, about stepping through this door, about stepping through the threshold. You're being pushed farther than you've been pushed in the past, and a lot of you is really pulling back about it, is really resisting. And the Nine of Swords shows you that it's all in your mind. The worst case scenarios, what you think you're not going to have or what you think you're going to lose, it's all in your mind, because it's just simply not true. The reality is you have a lot of promise in front of you. You have a lot of potential in front of you, but you've got to be willing to take that step over the doorway, step over the threshold. So realize that right now, if you're coming up with all sorts of reasons, or it seems like the external world is blocking you from making this step, know that the block is coming from the inside. And you can change that. You can remove that block from inside you. Simply by just saying, okay, I realize I'm doing this to myself. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to step through. All right, Libra, looks like we're back to one card. Funny, we got the Death card. And Scorpio is our next reading. That's also Death. Okay, so Libra, what is our message with the Death card? This is funny because it's asking you to look at how far you've come. Death is also, it's kind of similar to what we were saying here about the threshold. Death is about a door opening, you stepping over that door. But it seems like the higher guidance doesn't want you to just step through that door kind of willy-nilly, like the fool would, just, oh, I wonder what I'm going to see here. It's really deliberately looking back and saying, this is what I've been working on, this is what I've gained, this is who I've become. And deliberately stepping through that door as a new person, as the true person that you are, the more authentic version of yourself. It's like the Cancer from before needs to just be kicked through the door. It doesn't matter, old self, new self, but you, it's a very deliberate focus on the journey you've taken to get to this point, so that when you walk through the door, you're walking through with strength. And door can mean opportunity, it can mean new way of life, new job, new something opening up for you. What else coming through for Libra, please? Also, when this door shows up, Libra, don't delay, don't vacillate, step through it. And I think that's why you're also being asked to look back, because when you look back, you're going to realize that everything that's been leading up to this point has been preparing you for the moment in front of you. So even though it may be something wacky, like out of left field that you never expected, or an opportunity that you're like, this sounds kind of interesting, I don't know if I can handle it. When you look back, you're going to see, yeah, absolutely, I can handle this. It's going to give you a different kind of confidence that you maybe didn't have. All right, now with that, Scorpio, middle two. Okay, Princess of Cups, Ace of Cups. It looks like an emotional rebirth, an emotional birth, or emotional purification. Scorpio, it looks like this is going to come forward to you in the form of a new relationship. Softer relationship, sweeter relationship perhaps. And I'm not getting specifically if this is platonic or a relationship, a partner relationship, but it's something that's going to invoke kind of a softer feeling in you. not a childish, but a more childlike. Sometimes when we interact with children, well, for me, this is true. When I interact with kids, I'm much softer with them. When I interact with adults, I'm not because I don't know, it's just different. Children are more pure and they're a little bit more, they're just more vulnerable, right? So this is something that is going to bring out that vulnerable side in you and have you interacting in a softer way. And emotionally, this is going to bring some healing for you because it's like there's an emotional release. Maybe for you, having to hold yourself in that strong adult. This allows you to flow maybe with more innocence, with more ease. So, I see this as a very positive thing in your future. So just make sure you're very open to it and that you allow yourself to experience it, and that you don't hold back from it, even if it's a little different than even what I'm saying is creating an expectation for you. Could be a pet even, it could be an animal, but it's something that brings out that softer side. And I don't think this is just a chance encounter. I do think this is a continued presence in your life. So again, what I'm saying is creating an expectation based on your hopes. Just be open to whatever this energy is. You'll recognize it because it draws out a softer side of you. Okay, moving to Aquarius. Right. Six of Pentacles. The giving and receiving of wealth, the giving and receiving, looks like, of advice. So Aquarius, make sure that your advice is going to the right place. That you're truly not wasting your time giving advice where it's not wanted, or perhaps giving advice where the person's not ready and then you end up being hurt because they're not receiving it so well. Advice is really only there if the person is... Advice is best given when it's asked for. If somebody doesn't ask for advice, then they're not ready to hear it. Because sometimes even when they're ready to hear it, they resist it and they push back against it. But if you're giving advice without being asked, you're really insinuating yourself into the situation and making it about you. And I just feel like some of your words are going wasted. And what happens when you talk too much and you're giving a lot of advice and you're saying a lot of things that people aren't listening to? They start to tune you out. And they stopped seeing you as a valid or viable source of support, because it's like when you start talking, they're immediately shut off. So that's the problem of talking too much, giving too much freely, giving too much for free, that people stop seeing you as something that is of value. They stop seeing your advice and your perspective as something of value. So really watch that, okay, Aquarius? Okay, Aries, middle two. Justice and the Three of Cups. Aries, you're being asked to look a little more carefully at the choices you're making, especially in the company of others. I want to say this is a bit of a sobering reading, and I'm saying those words on purpose. Justice is asking you to take a more objective look. Is what you're doing really for your best interest and your highest good? People you're with, choices you're making together, the choices you feel you have to make to be with this group of people. Is this really in line with your highest good? This is all about alignment and balance. It's funny because Libra is your opposite, Aries, and it's all about balance. The two factions being equal. All right, so if you're having to compromise yourself in the choices you're making, then they're not the right choices. They may not be the right people for you if they cannot accept who you are for who you are. And more than anything, I'm really feeling like this is more choice than it is about people, than it is about groups. But it's the choices that you make to be in a specific group. really time to examine those choices and make sure that you're really okay with them. Make sure that objectively they make sense for you. Getting another message with the Justice card, so just give me a second here. That's funny. On this Aries card, he's holding a hawk, and she's got a hawk feather. So it's like you were here. You were here, Aries. Okay, what else are you trying to say with this Justice card? Okay, so this is funny. I actually saw 3 owls in the daytime. It was not quite dusk yet. It was about 6:30, but it was still very light. And the message was the light seeing the dark for what it is, the dark and the light kind of coming together, but the light chasing out the dark. And this is an owl in the daytime, so I'm thinking it's related to that message. This is about making sure that you're not allowing the dark to be in a place where it shouldn't be. The light needs to prevail within you, and light meaning positive, light meaning love, light meaning truth. That needs to prevail within you, not the dark. So this is literally bringing the dark to light, bringing the dark to the truth. Okay, Aries, I hope that helps a bit more. All right, and last but not least, message for Virgo. Fairy Lilt, lovely card here. Go with the flow, Virgo. Everything is in its right place right now. You need to just relax and put yourself in harmony with the way things are going, the way things are flowing. This is really a nice time to enjoy what's unfolding. You don't need to question, you don't need to really do anything, but it's like allow the universe to work its magic for you, because right now you are in the middle of this incredibly benign, benevolent flow, this really beneficial flow. So the more you can tap into that energy, Virgo, the better off you're going to be, because it is through going with the flow that you're going to see a lot more alchemy, a lot more magic, a lot more things just, again, magically happening without explanation for you, in a good way, in a way that's really positive and really, really good for you. All right, that was a lovely message to end on. Thanks so much for joining me. Wishing you so much peace and light on your journey forward.